Welcome to the Let's Talk Basic podcast, where girls talk about everything basic.
Join us as we sit down with a glass of wine and see where the conversation goes.
Kick back,
relax,
and get ready for the ultimate girls' night in.
I'm your host, Joanne.
And I'm Vanessa. Woo! Welcome back to the Let's Talk Basic podcast. Cheers!
Cheers, guys!
Well, this is a really exciting episode for us. We're starting a new mini-series, as you guys all know from our Instagram profile. We are going to do a little mini Bachelor because Joanne and I are absolutely obsessed with that television series.
Yeah, so to give you a little idea of what we're planning, we have one Bachelor. His name is Mike. We posted a picture of him on our Instagram page, and we're going to set him up with 3 eligible ladies. So if you have anybody that is single and is interested, nominate them or have them DM us, and we will see if you are one of the lucky girls.
Yeah, we'll set you up. We promise you we'll set you up on a really fun day. We can't promise anything, but we can promise that Mike's going to be a total gentleman.
Yeah, so today we have Mike with us, so we're super excited to get to know him better.
Okay, should we do like a little shot before we do this? Because I feel like he's going to need it.
That is, what are these questions?
He has his arms crossed and everything right now.
That's my posture. It's,
okay.
That's the way I am.
Guys, one more drink before we get started.
Cheers.
Okay, so Mike, let's get into it. Can you tell us a little bit more about you?
So, I'm Mike. I'm 29 years old. I live in Toronto, but not right downtown. I live in Etobicoke. And I hate starting off with it, but you always have to say what your job is. But I don't like saying I'm an accountant. I like saying I work at an accounting firm. It at least sounds a little bit better.
And you're a manager. So.
And I'm a manager, yeah.
So
you have to
successful.
say that part. Your words, not mine. But, and I'd say if you were to describe me, like I'm an extroverted introvert, I'd say. Definitely, like keeping to myself, but when I want to be social, when I want to do fun things, like join the Let's Talk Basic podcast, I can, and I can be social and fun. So I like playing a lot of sports and being active and doing all those fun things, exploring the city. But the question that I'm sure you've all been wondering is, yes, I do drink tap water. So
you definitely listened to our last
I did. I had to do some research. It might be one of your rapid fire questions, but definitely from the tap, but not from the washroom, just from the kitchen. So that's all you need to know about me.
So if you didn't see the picture on Instagram, you might be able to tell based on his description that he drinks tap water that Mike is white. So tell us a little bit about what you're looking for in a girl.
Or maybe a little bit more about like your experience so far in the online dating app and like why you decide or why you agreed to come on this podcast and give give us the rein.
Vanessa's question first.
Okay, so why don't I give you the full backstory and kind of explain to you at what point I'm at in my life. No, just the point I'm at in my life. It's not, no. Just to give some context for the podcast. I was in a long-term relationship almost 7 years up until about last year. And since then, I've been living the single life. And at the very beginning of that, now that I'm in my late 20s, it's a lot different being single now than versus, in the early 20s, which is the last time that I was single. And I've had a lot of fun with the dating apps, and they definitely work for, I guess we'll say, the instant attention. But I found when I've been set up or I've gone on dates, it's always worked the best when it's through friends. So in a situation like this, if we're talking about the podcast, it's definitely something outside of my comfort zone. But I feel like there's going to be a lot more compatibility, or I trust your judgment is what we'll say. So that's why I'm here. Maybe I don't. Another drink.
Okay, so what kind of girl are you looking for?
It's a tough question to answer because sometimes you just can't predict compatibility, right? If something works and it goes well on a date, it might be someone that's a complete different personality or a complete different expectation. But I would say is it's someone that's looking to get serious. So if you talk about a first date, I mean, obviously you can't talk about all those things and, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. It's not like that, but you're looking for a relationship. That's what we'll say. And that's what I'm looking for.
Are you looking for a proposal at the end of this?
Let's not go that far.
We don't have a neon lane diamond for you to give this woman.
Well, I'm looking around even for a rose and I don't see one in here.
There's some dead ones over there.
That'd be great. Give me 3 dead roses and I'll have to decide what I give away.
You know what? Just to get to know you a little bit better and quickly, we'll do some rapid fire questions so that our listeners can also get to know you a little bit more to see what your likes and preferences are.
Sounds good.
So you don't have much time to think about these, so we want you to respond like pretty much like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go for it.
Okay?
Yeah.
House or condo?
Condo.
Yeah.
Give me half a second.
Okay, that's
condo.
City or suburb?
City.
Shower or bath?
Shower.
Cardio or weights?
Cardio.
Tim's or Starbucks?
Starbucks.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Hawaii vacation or Italian vacation?
Hawaii.
Wine or beer?
Beer.
Blondes or brunette?
Blondes.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to do rapid fire. Okay. Ideal date.
Ideal date?
Yeah.
Start coffee because...
Okay, favorite movie.
You put me on the spot. I have like 10 movies that I enjoy. And,
rapid fire. Go. First thing that
comes to my head. Superbad.
Go to drink.
What did you say?
Go to drink.
Go to drink? Oh, beer, for sure.
Favorite coffee shop.
Jimmy's near me.
Favorite restaurant.
It's taking too long. Can I just say a type?
Sure.
Type of food? Mexican.
Okay. Favorite eye color.
Blue.
Celebrity crush.
Oh, geez, there's too many.
Immediate. First question.
Emily Blunt.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Brunette.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not
Giving us
rapid
mixed
fire.
messages.
Yeah. What else? Go.
Arms are crossed again.
I know.
Arms crossed again.
Favorite sports to play?
Hockey. Sorry, I was sipping there.
Immediate response if fire alarm went off and people are screaming.
Wait it out.
What?
People overreact. You gotta wait it out. See what's going on.
Okay, what's the most interesting... This is not rapid fire anymore. Well,
Okay, I like to think about my answers.
Yeah. What's the most interesting date you've planned?
Interesting date I've planned?
Yeah, or like elaborate or cute or...
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like the best ones are always, I guess we'll say kind of, you kind of know like in general what the structure of the date is, and you kind of say, oh, you know, we're going to dinner, we're doing this, but there's almost like some element of surprise, or it's like you don't know exactly where you're going. So there's a few that come to mind in my head where it's just, you know, just here's what you should wear, here's the kind of idea of what the date's going to be, but just based on, you know, if it's a summer date, there'll be a lot of walking or going somewhere where it's just kind of a surprise. So it's more like you make the date happen and you have it all planned out, but it's not, there's some kind of surprise. So,
Okay, so Joanna and I are going to plan your date, but you have to give us an idea about like what kind of activities or what kind of things you want to do. So if you were to plan your date, what kind of, like, give me specific restaurants and give me specific places you would take someone, whether you have been there or haven't been there. And,
and why.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you an idea of a fun one. I find the way I am, if you're just sitting and getting to know each other, that's great, but you can also get to know each other doing something a little bit more active, or where you're not just kind of sitting across the table or sitting somewhere and just kind of worrying about your posture.
Yeah.
Like we were talking. So what I found was a lot of fun is going to Lob.
I love that place.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So, but it kind of ties into what I was talking about before. So it's great because you can hang out and you can have a drink and there's food there and everything. But for the most part, it's active. So you're not sitting across. You're just worried about kind of having fun and doing the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's one of those places where if you're having a lot of fun, you can keep having a drink there. You can stay for a couple hours, or if you sort of wear it out and you say, I've tossed this ball around enough, like it's an hour, it's time to go. That's what happened. And then afterwards, this wasn't part of the plan at all, but this is what I'm talking about, where it's not spontaneous, but it's kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this and this is a fun spot. Just going to Broadview Hotel after, and it's nice. And in the summer, like I'm sure you guys have been there probably, and you know, the glass is open, the doors are open, and you have a lot of fun. And it wasn't the expected part, but you just go up there and grab a table, and it works out well.
That's such a funny story because I feel like I had the exact same date.
Yeah.
And it also started out at law. And the recommendation actually came from one of my colleagues who is also in the same like space as you. He's also dating around, and I asked him like, "What's your date spot? Like, where do you take girls on your first date?" And his response was the same thing, lob, and then
great,
kind of like Rob, who was definitely one of them. So I went on your date. I approve, so it's really fun. I love it.
There you go. I had to get more specific eventually.
Yeah.
So. There you go.
I guess you've kind of been dating around now.
Yeah.
Or on dating apps.
To put it so nicely. Yeah.
So how has that experience been for you? And actually, I'll just leave it there. How has that experience been for you so far?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, and it's definitely a lot of fun, especially, just switching gears and going from 0 to 100, where it's a long-term relationship, and then all of a sudden, sort of you doing you and having the freedom and just kind of, on a weekend saying, I want to go on a date today, so I'm going to. That part, the attention has definitely been a lot of fun and meeting new people, and it's been great. But the thing that I mentioned before, and I think at the end of the day, you could go on 10 fun dates and you're still fulfilled and you still enjoy it. But if you have the one that is just that much more fun and you can't wait till the date's over to see them again, that's the part that I'm looking for. And it doesn't happen as much as you would think, I would say, when you're just kind of out, you're out and having fun and being single. It doesn't happen as much, maybe just because you're not upfront about what you want at the end of the day. But I would say there's good and bad to it.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're on these dating apps or coming on this show to find someone like pretty serious, like you kind of mentioned at the beginning. Can I ask you what you miss about being in a long-term relationship or being in a relationship?
Yeah, well, I would say the part when you're single and you have, a lot more free time and especially the freedom, you learn a lot about yourself and you learn, kind of about the person that you want to be, and switching gears from being late 20s single versus, early 20s single, your priorities are definitely a lot different. The freedom itself is a lot of fun, and that's a great thing. But at the end of the day, there's still that little piece that's missing where you want to share your day with someone, or I don't want to say be vulnerable, but sometimes just someone to talk to that gets you in that way. I mean, friends, parents, maybe just for a guy, it's a little bit different. You don't need that outlet a lot of the time, but that's the part that's missing. And I mean, that's the best part of a long-term relationship, right? Is someone that knows you and knows the things that you want to share with them. I know it doesn't happen right away, but that's the part that's missing for sure.
So I'm getting the sense that you're like super sweet, super sentimental.
Oh.
You're not?
well, no, there's
super sweet for sure.
Yeah.
There's some sides. I mean, I have. That's maybe the starting point, but I mean, I have my dry sense of humor, and it might not come out so much on a podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm not sweet all the time. Not to scare people, but
what?
You can't have the expectation like 100% sweet all the time.
Okay, what's the sweetest thing you've ever done where like it will just melt all our listeners' hearts?
Trying to think. So this is
we're not gonna boost you up forever. So like lay it on now.
I have to. Well, I'm not someone that's about like this one big romantic moment to like blow someone away. That's just not the way that I am. I feel like instead of one big gesture, it's a lot of smaller gestures. But the one thing, it's so lame, but I don't know.
So
I guess
excited.
I do it all the time.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
No,
it starts with "It's so lame."
It's good. That's a good start.
The handmade cards are like just doing the handmade cards. I do it all the time.
All the time?
No. Well, not. It's not like I've done it once, and it's not. I don't know. I feel like that's just the most heartfelt thing, and it doesn't have to be for an occasion, but just once in a while, putting a bit of effort to it and having some comments and things like that. I would say.
Do you do it like randomly or like sporadically?
Yeah. Well, that's why I'd say it's sporadically, because it's almost like there's an expectation if there's an event or something, and it's like, oh, okay, it's my birthday, great. Like, I'm glad you put in some effort. But
okay, so you've talked a lot about what you can offer now. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about so the girl that you would ideally go out with and have a long-term relationship with, what are some of the qualities that you're looking for, and maybe like talk about how you would be impressed if someone did this for you?
Yeah, okay. That's a good kind of lead in. I'd say, and I've noticed this a lot too, just kind of being on dates, and there's always the awkwardness, or I guess the anxiety, and just not fully being comfortable and opening up. But I feel like in general, just a lot of people don't always want to say what's on their mind, and worrying almost about being too polite, or just, I'll worry about it later. And I mean, you don't want to just have no filter on a date. I understand that. But I think someone that is willing to communicate and mature about it, that's definitely a key thing. I'd be looking for someone that's fairly independent. When I think about someone else, I'd almost want someone that has had a bit of experience being single at this stage of their life, where they know what they want and they know how to be independent, and their own happiness at the end of the day comes from themselves. What I find, and just the type that is not compatible with me at all, is someone that's extremely needy, or just kind of, almost jumps from relationship to relationship because they don't like being single, and wants to find that instant attachment, whoever it is. And I think it's someone that's had that comfort level being single or being on their own, at least for some point in their mid-20s, late 20s, that kind of understands that is a key thing for me. So
someone who's independent.
So, okay, Vanessa, I guess you don't really know Mike that well. I think this might be the first time you...
Second time I've met him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so based on your impressions of him, what kind of girl do you think...
Yeah, I could be way off. Tell me what you think. Yeah.
You would think would be right for him, or like, what is...
Can I go rogue here?
Yeah, go rogue. That's the point of this, yeah.
I feel like in his mind, he wants like a sweet girl who's like,
You say what you're going to say, and then I'll give some input too.
Sweet girl. I actually probably think that he'd be great with someone who's a little bit more controlling and kind of takes the lead. On things. I think you're such a easygoing, happy-go-lucky person that, someone who I want to go to Broadview Hotel. You'd be like, sure, down. Like someone who really takes the lead and is independent, has their own, and maybe someone even older.
Is this a hint for what's coming up? No, I'd say that's a good way to put it, because for me, I'm kind of, I don't want to say free spirit, but I kind of just, like you say, with a full planned out date, sometimes I like just having part of it planned or doing something. So if that comes up, I definitely, I agree. That's a part of it for sure. But when you say controlling, it's almost like the alarm bells are going off. That's not,
but I feel like
I can only handle it so much, I guess
would
is what we'll
totally
say.
see you with somebody though. Who
assertive,
would assertive, and call the shots and be like, why are you talking like that, or like, why is your body language so closed up?
He's like, stop crossing your arms.
But then I give my answer and I just say, it's just because I am, or that's the way.
Not okay.
I guess I'd say I'm stubborn enough that I'd listen to the feedback and I'd accept it, but I'm still gonna cross my arms. We'll say it that way.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of talked about all your good points. Like you were sweet.
I think he's super sweet. He's really easy,
very chill. And very well spoken.
Yeah,
and successful, Asian parent approved.
Very independent.
Yeah,
Asian parent approved.
Because you're in accounting specifically.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Say it.
Doctor, lawyer, accounting. You're good. Yeah.
How tall are you?
6 feet even.
6 feet.
Oh my gosh. That's all of the check boxes
right
here. So you got everything on paper.
Yeah. But everybody has flaws. So we want to hear about all your flaws that you should just lay out for our listeners.
So so this is the second time I've met him, but don't mind me. But
are you gonna tell him his flaws?
No, this is let's talk basic therapy. This is good.
If we were to ask your ex-girlfriend, what the most annoying things that you did in those 7 years of a relationship, what would she point out?
Oh, I would say...
He's looking really uncomfortable.
I'm happy to answer. This is you have to talk about it. I would say the me just kind of, being chill and having fun with things and kind of living your life sometimes gives off the impression that maybe you don't care or there's no conviction. I can see that. And it's not, I don't mean any harm by it, but sometimes I just, I'm going to do me, or this is fun, or this is a good situation. And
oh yeah, I can totally see that. I can see myself being mad at you for being too chill.
Yeah, but you also like people to be very controlling in a relationship. So tell us something really embarrassing about yourself.
Just in general?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was thinking about it because we were talking about it a bit, you might have to talk about embarrassing things, and I'm thinking, what is it? But to me, it kind of comes down to the comfort level thing. So, first of all, talking about a podcast, this is definitely way outside my comfort zone, but I thought, why not? No. It's not embarrassing, but I guess it's a good story for me. So, this is back, I've been at the same job for almost 10 years now. And right starting out, there's this conference for all the new hires when everybody starts. And it's basically just training. All of a sudden I wake up to my phone ringing, and then I realize, oh shit, I slept in. no shower, just like throw on your clothes, like hung over everything, and you go. But what happens is that you have to like sing in front of the entire class when you're late. So, I mean, if it was with you guys, like we've done our karaoke night, like that's fine. You're drinking and you're with friends. Yeah. But what if when people you just met and there's like a few hundred coworkers and they pick the song, so we had to do Spice Girls, or it was just me.
Yeah.
And they just played up on YouTube and everybody's looking and like no shower, hungover, everything, right? It was terrible. And well, you can tell the person I am, like I don't have a good singing voice at all. Just not at all.
So no karaoke for you.
No. Well, I mean, I'll do it. I don't mind it with friends. But it's just coworkers, and you're just starting out, and you're like, oh, like I'm going to be that guy that everybody talks about now the rest of the trip. But then at the end of the day, you realize, like, even when you do it, people are laughing and they're having a good time. Yeah. So it's kind of like this. You just go and just say, why not do something fun and, you know, go on a podcast or
What Spice Girls song was it? Sorry.
Oh, geez. Tell me which one. And they didn't stop it. Like, whole song I had to do. Like, beginning to end.
Did you have to rap? Moves?
I didn't have to do the moves, no. I was just kind of standing. I don't know. I was just...
That was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Has there been anything recent?
See, I wish I could give something that was like, that was crazy, but nothing that bad has happened where instantly...
Make it up!
I remember a first date, like, you know, I picked a spot and we were going to a coffee shop and... like in Kensington, and I could not find it. And I was like, okay, we're like 10 minutes later, I'm like, sorry, we're just going to have to meet here and like, hopefully we find it. Yeah. And then within a minute, she's like, oh, here it is. I'm just like, oh, what a great start. And it's like first date. It's not like I met them before or anything. So there's little like embarrassing things like that. But yeah. But those are things you laugh it off.
Yeah.
So now that you've been on a couple dates, can you tell us, like when you're on these dates, can you pretty much tell within the first, you know, couple of minutes or half an hour or so with like that it's going really well, like some of the signs, and then tell us about how that has been for you?
Yeah, I would say the first couple of minutes, maybe it's tough just because if you've never really met someone before, it just takes a bit of time to get comfortable, right? But if you're saying half an hour, I think you'd at least have a sense where it's going to be like, oh, is there going to be another date or not at all? So, I mean, that's why it's kind of good too if you start with something simple like a coffee shop or even drinks. Like then if it really doesn't go well, you can just sort of speak up or just say, or just like, oh, I had fun, thanks, right? Like just something like that. And
And are you the type after the first date and if it went really well, are you the type to text that person right away or wait a day? Like, is there a rule?
Yeah, that's a good basic question. No, I can't stand the dynamic of waiting too long and just like, oh, there has to be a rule. I mean, right away, if it's like you get to your car and it's 5 minutes later, then that's overkill. But I'd say the same night, if it goes well, I'd at least want to say, you know, let's do it again and not like, oh, let's meet tomorrow. But I don't think there's a rule about waiting the next day, at least not for me, but later in the day.
Is there like an icebreaker question that you like go to all the time to kind of like make it less awkward when you do the first date?
I probably should have one now that you brought it up. But no, I feel like there's always just the general questions, right? About like, what do you do and where do you live and all that kind of stuff. And usually there's something that gets mentioned that you say, oh, okay, like let's elaborate on it, or just I feel like the answer to the basic questions is kind of the icebreaker in itself. I don't have a go-to question, but it's just like small talk for 5 minutes, and then usually you latch on to something and then go from there.
Have you had an experience, so you're looking at someone's profile, right? And you're like, I'm really excited to see this person, and then you meet them and you're like, oh, that was I really hope that this one would work out. And then you...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, so can you tell us how that went?
Yeah,
Like, what was the difference between their profile and you, like, you know, conversing on text and in person? Like, what was the kind of, not deal breaker, but, like, what happened?
Sometimes they're just boring people, I guess. So what I mean by that, though, is, I mean, everybody puts at least some effort into their profile usually, and they say things about them, and sometimes you get the sense that it's just this, you know, extremely fun person, or they have, you know, all these great traits that are going on, and then you meet and it's almost just like disinterested. I was almost going to say crossed arms, but that's what I do without thinking sometimes. That definitely happens for sure.
And what was the most successful dating story that you can tell us about through your dating app? And how many dates have you been on with this person? And what was the draw to this one person? Was it their profile? Did they enhance it when you met them in person?
Yeah, I guess The most successful is probably, like, I've still been very short term with things since, I would say the most successful has probably been about like 5 or 6 dates. So
that's
you see
a
them.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you hit it off and you have a great conversation and you talk and it's almost like the time just kind of goes by. But then when you start to think about it, sometimes it's actually just, there's not that spark you're looking at. And it's more like, oh, am I just hanging out with someone that could be a friend? So
yeah.
I would honestly say though, just talking about someone like putting together this perfect profile, that gets you the first little bit of attention. But if you talk about the first half an hour, if you don't really match what your profile says.
Okay, what is the perfect profile though?
Yeah, please teach us.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Honestly, I would say it just comes down to being honest about who you are. So when you're asking me even some of these things, just to give a little prep with who I am, like, I don't know if that's accurate based on the way I describe myself, but I feel like if you get a bit of inconsistency, then that's true. Even if you have someone that says, you know, I'm difficult or I'm stubborn, like if you are and that's how it goes on the date, then that's the personality you are, at least you're not hiding it. Yeah, so I'd say an honest profile and not just, you know, filtered honesty, but almost being a little bit unfiltered and this is who I am. Or even, you know, once you message and you kind of get a sense of that's what it's like consistency, I guess, would be the answer.
So what's on your dating profile?
Oh, I wonder if anybody's actually seen it. I'm sure it's happened, like with friends or listeners or something. No, I just try to make it, I guess, as funny as possible, but I list the things. Like I like being an active person and just talk about being a goofball and stuff. But the Bumble ones, it's kind of funny. It's just, I say, you know, like 5 or 6 things about myself, just, you know, here's my personality or here's what I like to do. But then I ended it off just saying, oh, and I'm an accountant, so this is exactly 300 words. And I like maxed it out. So I mean, I feel like that's the kind of person I am, right? Like I'd say I'm fairly innocent and joke around and friendly and things like that. And I think that's what my profile
How
reflects.
many dates do you think it'll take a girl to really get to know you?
That's a good question. I would say definitely not on the first date because that's more just a feeling out process and talking. It's kind of a general answer, but I think I would say a couple. I find sometimes even if you have a couple drinks and you loosen up and you're a bit more open that way, then that's what helps. But a couple, like 3 or 4.
So tell me where you took the girl that you went on 6 dates with, like, from
Lob was one of them. But usually, for the most part, it was just like restaurants around the city, I guess, and that was the start. But I feel like the way it works with me is there's not necessarily a go-to spot. It's more like an area where I do a bit of research, and then you'd have a set spot like to meet, whether it's eating or just starting. But like I said, I'm not the full controlling, like here's the 4 things. Yeah. It's more like here's where it is,
and then you'll figure it out from there based on how it goes.
And the way I am too is sometimes even if there is like a planned date, something changes or you just realize like it starts raining. I find for me, like I like to have something set up. Like I'd have an idea of what to do next, but it's not so much, oh, we're doing these 5 things. Like it's just not the way I operate.
When you go on these dates, what's something that you like want them to know about you but can't really say on the first date?
That's kind of a tough question. I don't know.
Where it's like where you're like, I really want.
Like, do I have baggage or something? I don't know.
No, not baggage. Like kind of
something
like
about your personality, where like it takes a while to like get to know, but you're like, I kind of wish you like knew that, or like could get a feeling of that.
No, I agree. Like, because when I asked you the question, how many dates does it take for a girl to really know you? Yeah. Obviously, the first date is kind of like a feel it out thing, but what are some of the things that are like, you're like, oh, I need to tell you this?
It's probably not very obvious on the podcast now, but my sense of humor sometimes is definitely like a dry sense of humor, or if I say something sarcastically, it seems like, oh, here's this nice guy that's saying all these mean things, but it's really just the way that I like to joke about and do things. So, I mean, obviously you're a little bit more cautious when your voice is being recorded or on the first date.
Bring it out.
It's just a part of my personality. And, you know, I'm friendly about it. And even if I say something that's joking and it's good natured, sometimes it doesn't come across that way.
That's how I feel all my life. Everything I say sounds like it's like negative or like,
oh no.
Oh, you know what a good segue is for that?
What?
You're telling me to wear a shirt that makes me look muscular. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, what? Did you get some feedback? And here's a...
I'm sorry. Joe would
I wore
say
2
that.
shirts today, too. I wore a tighter one underneath in case you're worried about
I'm dying. Joanne would say that.
But that's the kind of thing I'm like too, and you say it as though like, oh, here's a tip, like just for the show or for something, but it comes across as though you're being a dick or something, and that's not what it is.
That's so funny because we would totally get into trouble.
Yeah,
saying
things like that.
No, and I knew it was a joke, but as soon as I read it,
I
I'm
don't
like,
even think
what?
it was a joke. I think it just
it was a joke. Like I was saying
it's
a
like
joke.
a pointer. It's a pointer, like, oh, this will help for.
Well, I was like
the pictures or
saying you should
something.
wear something that looks good for pictures if we take some pictures. And I was like, something to show off your muscles.
But you said it like wear something that makes you look muscular. I'm like, oh, thanks. Okay.
I don't know. I think people have been liking your profile because I'm just gonna quickly go on Instagram right now. Like your post came up and it was like, it says this post is doing 85% better than most of your posts.
Oh, 85. Look at
So,
that.
yeah.
Me and my numbers. That's
So
great.
it's kind of like.
Is that tap water too?
Probably.
I don't know what you're doing.
I think that's tap water in the picture too.
Yeah. No, I think the shirt that he's wearing is fine. So we'll take a photo for you guys, and you guys can let us know.
Well, I've been flexing the whole time. So I'm getting tired.
That's why he's crossing his arms.
Yeah, exactly.
So, girls, if you go on a date with him, you're gonna know that
It's like, why is he shaking? Why is he sweating? Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why he's crossing his arms is because he's trying to show off his muscles.
And that insecurity from that message you send, I just can't get over it.
Aww. Okay. I also want our listeners to get to know you on kind of a day-to-day basis as well. So can you let us know what you do on a weekday, like 9 to 5, and then also on the weekend, or let us know what you did this weekend, just so that we get a sense of what you do. Yeah,
sure. Well, I guess why don't I start with the typical weekday, because that's always different, and then we'll sort of just lead into what a typical weekend would be, or even this past one. So the way it works with me, I travel, but it's just within the GTA usually. So I don't go to the same office every day. Like it's kind of maybe a third of the time, and I travel around. So a lot of the times I'm in a different location. But my work schedule is also fairly flexible. Like if you needed to take time off, or you just sort of shift it around, and I'd say it's pretty volatile, just like the work part. But what I also like to do to be social is play a lot of sports or be active that way. So
are you in any clubs or?
Yeah, no, I'd say almost every day of the week I have something sports related. It's more, again, like just sort of the single me kind of embraced it and thought that's fun. Softball a couple times a week, hockey a couple times a week, ball hockey too, and it's flexible. Like you don't always have to go, but I feel like most days I'm doing something. On the weekends, I guess it's kind of the same thing. I have made a point this year too. Like I got a golf membership, and I'm trying to do it a lot more.
Where?
Such a white boy thing. It's called Club Link, so it's kind of this like.
So you get to travel to different clubs.
Yeah, so you have this membership where there's a lot throughout the GTA that you can sort of play with. So there's a good friend of my brother actually joined it too. So I feel like on usually one day on the weekend, that's what I try and do, whether it's like Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. This past weekend, I mean, I don't do it every weekend. It's not quite that much, but like I saw my parents this last weekend, but maybe once or twice a month. I know I'm trying to say it, make it sound, this sweet guy. I see his parents all the time.
Sweet.
But what did I do?
It every week though.
No, I'd say probably once a month I end up seeing them or like going to visit.
That is less sweet. Let's keep it.
Once a month is pretty good.
Yeah,
that's actually really good.
But they do stuff in the city, so I might like see them if they're sort of here. But like actual visits, I'd say that's probably about right.
Would you say you're like a mama's boy?
No, no. I honestly wouldn't.
Don't sound so grossed out. It's okay.
No, I'm trying to. No, I'm just trying to answer it honestly.
No,
I'm not.
I'm independent. No, but what's funny, and I feel like not as many guys would say this, but throughout my whole life, I'd say I've probably been closer to my dad in general, and it's changed, and I'd say I've been a lot closer with my mom the last couple of years, but for most of my life, it was more my dad. I don't know if it's just we had the same interest or more of like the same personality, but that's a lot of guy friends when I talk to it seem a lot closer to their mom than I was at first.
Okay,
and it's
this
changed.
is like a little bit off topic, but do your parents ask you what you're dating like? What do you tell them?
I would say that's more my mom. My dad would like almost never.
How does she go about saying it? Does she have a nickname for you?
She calls me Mikey sometimes.
Yeah. So, Mikey, how's your dating life
No,
going?
she says it more like, oh, like when I go to say hi, oh, it's good to see you again. Like that kind of,
the
white mom kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what did she say? Like, how does, like...
Or no, she just says like, oh, are you seeing anybody or how's it going? Just like a general question. She's not too interested.
What is your answer? Did you tell her about this podcast that you're doing this weekend?
Yeah, I did actually.
What did she say?
No, I just told her like... Through friends, they've set this thing up and they almost made it like a mini Bachelor thing.
Is she gonna listen?
Oh, she's totally gonna listen.
Yeah, well, she's like, oh, let me know when it's up and I'll listen and stuff. So
I can't wait.
We'll see.
Is your mom have Instagram? I'm gonna
she might actually, but I don't know if she really uses it.
It's okay, we'll find her.
Definitely Facebook. Yeah, you'll find her.
I'm so excited. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why you're so excited.
Can we have your mom on one of the dates?
What, she's like a chaperone?
No, at the very end.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have a car. My
Maybe
mom's
the
got a
date
driver.
is like immediately meeting the parents.
I'm sorry, we're scaring the girls. No, we won't.
Oh, that would be hilarious. No.
That would be so funny.
That's so funny for us.
Yeah, I know. It's for entertainment,
We won't do it.
okay?
But okay. So,
No,
did she say anything about you being on this podcast?
No, she seemed pretty excited. She's like, oh, that's different, or that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really even, like, when I talk about podcasts, she didn't really even know what it was, so I had to explain it and stuff. But, yeah, I just said, like, oh, I'm going on a couple dates one weekend that are set up, and I'm going to talk about it, basically, is how I told her.
Oh,
no, she seems pretty excited, but the way I am, like, I'm not an oversharer, really, so I just kind of said, yeah, I'll let you know, but...
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, no, I thought it was funny, but I had to tell her, I'm like, she's gonna get a kick out of it, so...
Yeah. That's really good. Okay, so we got a day-to-day of what you do. You talked about a little bit about your week. Yeah, your mom, and a little bit about your weekend.
Yeah.
What about if, like, you saw a girl on... you were meeting up with the girl, you've never seen her before, and she has, like, lipsticks, like, smeared all over her face.
That's
what
a thing?
would you do? I don't know.
I think I'd be so surprised, or I'm like, is this the person that I'm going to meet? Or I just say like, oh, you have a little something there.
Would you say that?
I don't know. Or I'd just be like, I actually don't know what I'd say, but yeah, that would be exit strategy.
Yeah.
Like, or like, I don't know, you just make up something quick and go if it was that bad.
Yeah.
That's your example?
Yeah. What's something that somebody would be surprised to hear about you?
Surprised? I mean, I'd say I'm more stubborn or more serious about things than I probably give that vibe of. Like
Like, what would you?
Yeah, but what bothers you?
I would say taking time to do things. Like something that I would do in, a couple of minutes, or like some. Now my mom's listening. As soon as I saw your face, I was like, yeah, that's where I'm going with it. No, but just say if you're getting ready, or if the food's taking a while, sometimes it's just like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. But to me, there's some things, like maybe it's just the accountant in me, where things just should be efficient sometimes. And it's the balance between, being friendly and having a good time.
I think you're being really nice, because you keep saying sometimes, but I think it's most of the time.
Yeah, like I'm more stubborn than my appearance, probably. That.
What would you do in those situations? Would you still be really nice about it, or?
Sometimes, but not always. I said sometimes again.
Yeah. What are the absolute turnoffs for you? Like immediate no's. For example, like if you go on a date, goes pretty well. It's like your third date. You go back to this girl's house, and like you notice things, or like, oh, I'm never coming back here. Like, are there things like that you're like absolutely no about?
Yeah. Well. Okay, I would say
you can be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm being honest. I'm just trying to think of the best way to word it. Well, I'm trying not to make it sound like a double standard, but messiness for sure. Like, I'm not a super clean person. I don't keep my car or my place in like perfect condition. But let's put it this way: if someone's messier than me, then the red flags kind of go off. And I say, if you can't keep your place organized, can you keep yourself organized? That would definitely be a major turnoff, and not even like stuff hanging around. Organized mess is okay, but
he's
especially
looking around
dirty.
at my place right now.
This is why I didn't want it in my place.
He literally is looking at my place, like he's like, what can I find?
No, like this hasn't happened, but I'm just trying to picture like almost in a movie or something, it'd be a red flag. Like someone that's really obsessed with one particular thing. Like, oh, I have 100 stuffed animals, or you have this like poster of pictures of someone that's crazy. No, but what should we look in your closet? Is that what?
Well, I have
There's
6 or 7.
I said 100.
I definitely have 100 at my parents' home.
Yeah.
Are they all like on display and you go home and you like talk to them and stuff? It's not like that.
Sometimes I do.
Sometimes I do.
I should leave.
These stuffed
This is
animals.
why you're not dating us.
These stuffed animals all have names, by the way.
Do they?
So is that like a no for you if that happens?
I'm not going to be offended, seriously.
Yeah, we won't be offended.
No, I'm thinking more like if it's like you go home and you're in the other place and the first time meeting them and it's like, oh, this is the thing. Like, these are my stuffed animals. Their
Oh my
names
god, I
and
totally
stuff.
do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know, I'd be thrown
Real
off.
bad.
I'm like, oh, just take it easy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can I share a
So
funny
there's
story?
Yes.
Go for it.
so-
This has been all me, so
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
I just want to. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is really funny because I didn't know
Let's
that
go.
I was turning people off. But one of my first dates, so this is before I met my partner, and
Yeah.
I was going on a date, and this guy asked me, he's like, oh, like, come over. And I'm like, great, as long as Peggy can come. And he's like,
No, for me, I'd be like, what?
and he goes,
Peggy, your friend?
so he asked, like a
Yeah.
normal person, he goes, who's Peggy? And then I took a photo of, it's a pink ugly doll, which he's retired now. I'll show you later, actually.
You should post this after. It's
Yes,
like
I will
Anyway,
show
this is
people.
your story.
So I snapped a photo of Peggy, and then he was not weirded out. And I think for me,
Better man than me.
yeah, no, I think it's funny because I think for me it's like you've got to accept this weird side of me. So I'm that person that like kind of like, hey, you know what? This is it. I'm gonna bring my stuffed animal. I'm gonna come to your place, and he was okay with it. And I have another thing called the stinky towel. It's actually in a Ziploc bag. I'll show you later as well.
The stinky towel. Okay.
Yeah. And
I don't think I have a stinky towel.
I waited a month until I told my partner that I had this thing. And the ultimate test to being in a relationship with me is actually sniffing it.
So you hold on to it just as like the relationship test?
Yeah, I still
I
have
think
it.
it's time.
Will you sniff it?
Do I have to sniff it right now on the podcast?
Can you? Yes.
I'll do it.
Yeah, do it.
God,
Yes.
This is so
Yes, I wanna do
You
it.
brought it up.
It's here.
Yeah.
It's sealed in a Ziploc so that the smell is in there.
So
oh my
it's
god,
gonna
I've
stay.
never seen it more grossed out.
You gotta get ready. Maybe I won't actually sniff it and I'll pretend. No, I'm going for it.
This towel was given to me by my grandmother.
Oh, okay. So there's...
This was white.
Not anymore.
This is white and orange. It used to be.
So why did it turn that color?
I have only washed this twice in my life.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, and the reason why it was washed twice was because my mom stole it from me to wash it. So it wasn't voluntary.
You just had a thing when you were younger and
Yeah,
you're like, I don't
so-
want to wash this towel. It's gonna...
Yeah, because it has the special thing about this thing that is the smell, right? So I think after meeting my boyfriend and seeing how grossed out it was,
Yeah.
I realized that, you know what, maybe...
Most people don't have a stinky towel.
I realized maybe I do kind of like this guy and I want to keep him around.
And it's still here. It wasn't even like hidden. It was you just wrapped
I put it,
instantly.
like it's on my bed. Usually it's on my bed.
Is it like sentimental at this point, or it's just a joke? And now you're like, I can't
no,
get
this
rid
is
of
not
it?
a joke. This is a real. I haven't. Look here. Let me smell it first because I haven't smelled it in a while.
No. I committed. Let's do it.
I know, but like I wanna. Okay.
Oh, you go right in there.
Oh yeah.
That's all right. My turn.
Oh god. I'm so embarrassed.
I'm ready.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that's a stinky towel, but it's not too bad. I wouldn't
It's
say
bad.
I wouldn't say it's super strong. It's just like different. I don't know what the actual smell is.
Wait, Johan, have you smelled it?
No.
I'm
I'll
surprised
take
I
the
haven't
picture.
liked it.
What?
I'm surprised you haven't smelled it. I usually make my friends smell it.
Yeah, I think you tried to make me, when we were living together, you tried to make
So
me
when I
smell
lived
it.
with Joanne, this thing still lived in my bed. Like it was still, like I would still
Yeah.
Do you sniff it because you're almost like used to it now and you're like, oh, I need that smell? It's like getting your fix.
It's like, okay, so my boyfriend and I were to break up. This would be the first thing I break out because it's that smell of, it's comfort.
It's like home.
Yeah, it's home. Hopefully my home doesn't smell.
I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. We'll put it that way.
It's like,
okay, so
the reason it
it's
smells
sentimental,
like this,
I guess,
but
too.
like
Like,
the
that makes
reason
sense.
it smells like this is because there's a lot of snot and tears that. So it's like every time I cry, and every time there's a breakup, you know, like you like you cry and it's all over.
Well, it got pretty dark now, so
Yeah.
It's a lot of sad talk.
it's a lot of tears in there. Yeah.
We will post this for you guys to see.
So
Yeah, people got to see the towel.
if
now,
a
yeah.
girl did that to you on like the 5th date, how would you react?
No, my initial reaction when you say stinky towel, I'm like, what are you talking about? What's a stinky towel? If you just said, oh, I love the smell because it's like a weird quirk or something, I'd be like, what's going on? But when I see it and you have the story behind it, it's like the breakup blanket, then okay, that's not weird. You're just attached to something that you have memories with. That's different.
Every single boyfriend has sniffed this.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the guys that I've been dating, like that I'm like, okay, I think it's getting real. And then I bust this out.
Towel. Oh, yeah.
Right?
And they're
this
like,
is like the last test. Like, can you handle me?
Did they know about it before you brought it out? You're like, oh, this is my stinky towel.
Sometimes I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
But, you know, it doesn't just come back, like, kind of like...
Yeah. Oh, hey. You plan it out one night, it's like on the couch. Like, oh, how'd that get there?
Usually it's brought into conversation, but can I ask... Okay, so... Okay, this is a little bit less funny. But are you good with parents? So, like, I guess your first encounter with your ex-girlfriend's parents, like, how did that go? Like, are you usually good with parents, or?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean...
It's good for our listeners to know, you know, if they want to bring you home.
Yeah, first date, yeah. Well, my mom's joining, so I guess that's yeah, I would say so. Like, I think it's just a matter of being respectful, and they know them their whole life, and even if it's, like, a dynamic you're not used to, it's just kind of respecting that at first. I mean, just think about how much you respect your parents and you like them. Yeah,
Do you have any questions for us in terms of, like, tips on...
Yeah, do you want any dating
or,
tips?
like, do you want honest feedback about yourself, or anything like that?
I don't know. Like, as the way I've talked about myself, is that how you see it too? Or do you actually see me as being a different personality than that? And not being that social?
Yeah, I'm going to give you my honest opinion because it's my second meeting with you.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to hear. Let's hear it.
I think you're such a nice guy and, like, so sweet, and anybody would be, like, lucky and, like, happy to date you.
So
which is why he's our bachelor.
Yeah, he's just such a, like, I just think, like, I just need to get, like, 5 more drinks in you.
Yeah. I feel like there's, like, a crazy
does
part
that make sense?
Like, is repressed and needs you to, like, come out.
You're, like, it would, like, if I were on a first date with you, I'd be so intimidated because you're so, like, perfect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I guess that's what I'm talking about. Like, when I get, you know, witty and sarcastic
like,
and stupid, it just sounds like,
how many shots do I need to give you?
Yeah.
Like, you're such, like, you're so, like, you're super dateable. That's what I think. Like, that's the conclusion.
You hear that, everybody?
Yeah.
I think for me, second meeting, it's like, you're such a sweet, nice guy. And,
but is it too much, though? I feel like sometimes people find it frustrating. It's like, it's almost like I'm not human, or it seems superficial sometimes.
I don't think you're superficial. I don't think you're fake.
What about basic?
What's your most basic thing about you?
Most basic thing?
Being an accountant.
Yeah. No kidding, yeah. Such an accountant. Everybody's a little bit basic, as much as they don't want to admit it or not.
That's why we named our podcast Let's Talk Basic, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
why?
Because people don't want to admit that they're basic.
Oh,
yeah.
And we are totally fine with admitting that we're very basic.
Proud and basic. Or basic and proud.
Yeah. No,
is my shirt basic? I feel like it's pretty
so
basic guy.
but like very, very nice basic.
Yeah, it makes you look
basic.
very muscular. So.
No, you're just being nice.
Yeah. Yeah, do you have questions for us?
Do you want any tips?
So I guess the dates are upcoming.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm going to need some tips either now if you know who I'm seeing or what we're doing. Some tips like...
I don't know, like the usual things I feel like. Maybe have a few shots beforehand.
Yeah, then I'm gonna be the angry person you're talking about that's hiding.
Is that the thing that you hide though? That you're actually really angry?
No, like I get frustrated with things quickly.
Yeah.
Like traffic or slow walkers or anything that someone does that's like slower than I would do it sometimes. Like, or I say sometimes because it's
a lot of times.
Yeah, that should be the name of the episode, I guess. Sometimes I don't know. I get frustrated quickly. We'll put it that way. So
yeah.
So there you go. I'm an angry person podcast.
No, I think
no.
Yeah, I think we are gonna set you up on dates that are hopefully just not coffee dates, not your regular dates.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll put some more effort into it for sure.
Oh, you're gonna put some effort into it.
Why do I say all this stuff?
It'll be fun. I think as long as you're playful and yourself and.
Yeah.
Like Joanne said, take 5 shots before you go on these
5 is a
dates.
lot, but all right.
And I think we'll be fine.
So is that it? Do you have like an end to the episode or something?
Usually we just go, well, thanks for listening. If you guys have any questions about Mike, feel free to DM us or message us on our Instagram page. And I hope you stay tuned to watch how these dates unfold.
I know.
There you go.
I'm
Cheers
excited.
to tap water, right?
Cheers!
Thanks for listening to the Let's Talk Basic podcast. For more exclusive content, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk Basic.
Tell me what you want.